Any man who is married who does not leave and cleave to his wife is setting himself on fire.
Yeah, it seems like Eris has decided to cleave to his cousin and her opinion about whether or not he should be married and ignore what you just said.
And loyalty begins inside the house. And regardless if it's family, friend, they are outside, and your wife is the one that you gotta be beholden to or responsible for, and keep all your secrets and all your business within the household.
Yeah, and his wife's name is Jasmine, not Felina. Welcome to Cliff Alerts. Today we're going to be talking about Lifetime Network's reality-based TV series, Married at First Sight, season number 16, episode number 9.
But before we get into it, please like, share, and subscribe. Please share this channel with your friends, your associates, people you like, or maybe not so much, people who getting on your nerves. Who knows? Tell them we got something to offer, and we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. So here we go.
Eris meets with his cousin Felina to
Is
talk
it
about
Felina or Fallon?
Felina.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Um, it could be a couple other things I'm thinking about, but I won't go there. Okay. Um, to talk about what's been happening since they've been back from their honeymoon in Jamaica.
I'm not sure if Alina is married, but she doesn't talk like she's a married woman. And I wondered, what about his mother? Why isn't he having this conversation about what is going on in his household with his mother, rather than Fallon, who comes across as a bitter woman?
Well, I will say to me, what's interesting to me is that Felina seems to have come to these massive conclusions or these definite
Without even
conclusions,
knowing who Jasmine
right?
is.
In all of what one meeting,
Right.
or what appears to have been one meeting based on what we saw as viewers. And I don't understand how she thinks that she is anywhere even close to being accurate about about her assessments in one meeting.
Well, you feel or sense a high level of toxicity with this sister. You get a feeling that she may be bitter, she may be jealous, she may have a lot of things that doesn't give her a soft place to fall. And Iris goes in and tells her what's going on in he and Jasmine's relationship, and that there is no sex. When he gets home, he goes to bed, and they barely kiss or touch. And I think that was foul.
Could not agree with you more. It is a mistake to
And
talk
he
about your marital issues outside of your house to someone who doesn't seem to be married and has never really experienced it.
not
I could be
only that,
wrong.
can't advise you in a
Right,
proper
right,
way because they have no idea what being married is. They're not.
right. And she actually had the audacity to project to state that she didn't feel like their relationship was going anywhere from the beginning.
Right.
Now, how does she come to that? How did she come to that point of realization and think that she was being accurate with it based on her assessment of Jasmine?
Well, I don't know if it's her assessment alone, because I don't know if she gauged that Eris will have to come up higher to get to that point, because Jasmine comes across as that kind of sister. She's not low-lying fruit. You got to step up a notch or two. Some brothers want to do that kind of work, but Eris so far is still checking for that ass. So he keeps talking about the sexual component. He keeps talking about she is not his body type, and he keeps saying that she is the kind of woman that he needs. So again, a level of immaturity here. He keeps saying one thing with his mouth, but his actions are indicating something else. And that Fallon could have a Felina can have a conversation with him, and then go on camera and talk about, oh, Jasmine needs to express to Iris how she feels, and that she should be a woman. What does one have to do with the other?
I can't speak to what her thinking was regarding that. You can because you're a woman, but it damn sure didn't make any damn sense to me, for sure.
Because I'm pretty sure Jasmine has articulated how she feels with Eris about this ongoing refrain about not being sexually attracted to her.
But
To
for Felina to frame it as and couch it as though she hadn't already done that means that she's talking about something she has no clue about.
again, that bitterness of spirit that she seems to have, that sense of, someone knowing your business, and they're gleeful. That's why she's comfortable in telling him when he invites her to the house that she's not investing time in coming to the house for the housewarming,
I don't
and she's asking him when is he gonna wrap this up.
I don't understand what she expects to get in the way of a return, but if she seemingly
Well,
investing there
again, there's some people
in
out
their
there
relationship.
like that. They're looking for any sound, any tone, any story of your demise, that something is not going well. They're not happy for you. They're haters, basically.
Yeah,
And they're okay with that.
yeah, and Felina has not said, from my vantage point, anything good about Jasmine, and so that falls right in line with what you just said about being a hater.
So we go back to the conversation of who's going to be invited to the house
Right,
for this home warming. And Iris mentioned that he invited um
Mike.
Felina.
No, yeah, yeah,
But
initially,
she's not gonna roll through.
right,
And
because
Jasmine said she okay with that because based on their last and first and only conversation, Felina told her that she was fake and she felt disrespected. So
Mhm.
she doesn't want to be around that kind of energy, and I don't blame her.
Right. She made that decision not to come because she doesn't like Jasmine. But what ought to be important to Eris is that okay, my wife's not feeling comfortable. Okay,
So
if she
you
doesn't
can't
come,
invite her.
okay, so I'm not going to invite her.
That doesn't mean that you don't resolve the issue between them, but they're gonna have to work it out. But in the meanwhile, you're trying to get room so you can build something with this woman at the house. So he has no reason to invite Fallon at their get together.
I agree.
So at the get together, we Mike and what's the other
Greg, I believe.
Greg and Mike rolls through. I'm not sure if either of them are married, but they're Iris's friends. And Jasmine's aunt,
Patricia
Patricia,
and
and
her
her
sister
sister,
Taylor.
Taylor,
Hmm.
comes through,
Right.
came through.
Hmm.
So Auntie said to Iris, show me around because she wants to have a conversation with him.
Hmm.
And they leave Jasmine to talk with Mike and Reg.
Hmm.
Aries is talking to Auntie, and he is talking all this what, and then she asks him a point blank question.
Yeah, and that was how would you feel if my niece got rid of her dogs, and she was not prepared, obviously, for his response.
He said he would be ecstatic when they saw that Jasmine is a breeder and she got 4 dogs and she takes care of 9 that she's breeding. When what in their minds it they said, okay, let's put her with Aris, a dude who do not have any animals, who is an only child and lives alone. When did that matchup become like firm and sexy to them?
Don't know. But I will say this: it didn't take into consideration an important and critical element of their matchmaking process.
Listen, people love their animals. I know I
Absolutely,
certainly do.
I have,
And if you're talking sideways about my animal, you're talking sideways about me.
right, and I agree.
So I am not gonna want to invite you to my house, and I'm okay with that.
You know what? And I get that. I get that. And as a former dog owner, multiple dog owner, I'm just like, I understand. I understand that that's kind of unusual for people who haven't had pets. You know what I'm
But
saying?
even if you had pets, that's a lot of animals
Right.
to be dealing with.
Right.
And he is coming from not even owning an
Right.
animal
Right.
to to 13 dogs, that's a little bit too
That's a
much.
lot.
So he said clearly, he would be ecstatic if these dogs
Mhm,
go somewhere else.
mhm.
And Dion was shocked because those dogs bring Jasmine a whole lot of joy.
And that's the troubling part of his response. He didn't even
He
bother
didn't
to
care.
consider that part of
He
it as
did
his
not,
wife. He
did
just
not.
said he just said and responded in a way that left her out of it and what brings her joy out of it and said, "This is what I would like to see her do in response to your question, auntie, and that would be okay with me. That would make me feel great." Damn, it's not all about you. What about how your wife would feel if that actually happened?
On the other side, Reggie and Mike were
Mhm.
talking with Jasmine, and Jasmine brings up the conversation about sex. My God, here we go again. And
Mm.
she tells them that they have not been engaging in sex, and that Iris told her that he is a sexual being, but he hasn't been sexual with her, and that they're trying to overcome it because there's a gulf between them where that is concerned. And I think personally, Jasmine needs to put that aside because she got bigger fish to fry than Iris' sexual energy and her wanting to do the do. I wouldn't let this guy in a mile of me based on how he's rolling.
I totally agree with that, and I also want to make this point. Why is Jasmine choosing to reveal to not Mike but Reggie, someone that she met for the very first time, about anything about their sexual encounters as a married couple?
No
Why is
clue.
it? Why is that appropriate for her to reveal to him?
There's nothing else to talk about with these folk than the sex. And I find that interesting. They talk about nothing else than a sexual relationship. Not how this person is, how they move, how they walk, what they like, what they do as hobbies, if they like art, if they like culture, if they like to travel. There's politics, there's a whole lot to go through, but all their focus is on throwing someone's
Someone
back
back.
out.
Right. Jasmine has got to understand from my vantage point that there are certain things that you tell people and there's certain things that you leave unsaid. Now, just because somebody asks something does not mean that you have to answer them, especially when it is really and truly none of their business. They may want to know, but that doesn't mean that you should necessarily answer based on whether or not you deem that it's something appropriate to tell as it relates to you and your husband's business.
But Jasmine can't play poker, it's all on her face. And I just think that she has an image to protect, that beauty queen coaching
Mhm.
thing that she has. So she should be mindful of how what she says
Mhm.
on camera
Right.
because that will go a long way to either add or take away from what she's currently doing.
Mm.
At this point, when I would feel a kind of way that he sort of is now disrespecting me by how he is moving in this process as it relates to me and how he deems my body rather than who I am as a human being.
Yeah, I could definitely understand that, and I think that there's something there for heirs to really consider. You and your husband well, and I thought that was an interesting question because from her vantage point, it's yes. From his vantage point,
No,
it's obviously based on his action. Never mind what he says.
no.
It's no.
Eris hasn't moved. When she came through the door in the initial stage of this episode, his eyes didn't light up. Nothing on him. He was as cold as ice.
Mhm. And
So
we've already talked about that while our theories about why that may be, and it gets back to this idea or notion of who he has in his head versus who's in front of him in terms of the reality.
thing. They both claim that they have issues with communicating,
Hmm.
and communicating is the foundation of any happy marriage.
Hmm.
So, based on their ages, they got to get a hold of that and start speaking their truth to each other
Hmm.
in a way that, understanding that they're going to have hard conversations, but it's just a conversation.
On the flip side of those two conversations that took place in their apartment at their housewarming party, Auntie asked a second question that I thought was pretty revealing in terms of the way that Eris decided to answer. She asked, what, if I'm not mistaken, what are the expectations of not only you but also you guys as a couple moving forward. His response was, "I'm willing to try."
Well,
And
that's
that
it.
that
It
was
says
not
it all.
very confident response. And it was not a response of someone who is legitimately all in, because Auntie Patricia made it very clear to him that she's in Jasmine's corner. So she wanted to know whether or not he was all in and was willing to go to whatever lengths that he needed to go to make this work. And his answer was less than assuring.
Well, if he's telling Fallon his business
Melina.
at Felina, his business at the house, that tells you all you need to know. Anyway, when they meet with the other couples at the end of it at the potluck, went out how they're doing. Jasmine spoke up and she said there's no sex, there's no attraction, there's nothing going on in their household, and her face was like all screwed up. And he leaned back and said, well, nothing's going on. So
And this is new for me too.
Jasmine indicated that she never had to initiate any response from a man. And said that's the same way he feels as well. So they're at an impasse right now.
Mhm.
And I don't know if they're going to be moving forward or backward, but in any event, you could see the writing on the wall for this one.
But let me say this about, from the guy's point of view. I think that Eris is not being honest. I don't think he's being, forthcoming in terms of what he's feeling. And I don't buy into this notion that he's not, because he doesn't see himself as being a good communicator. That's an excuse for not saying, what he could say and what he could say and what he needs to say as an adult. He's 39 years old.
I think Eris understands that he got to do some work. He got to do some work to get up to where she is. Trust and believe. Has he has to put the work in, regardless if he's a prince or pauper. I heard Harry said he met Megan and he understand that he had to step his game up, and this is a prince. So, and any brother worth his salt knows when he meets and eyeballs the person that he's willing to go through it with, he gotta step his game up.
And I don't know his dating background, but just based on what he's been able to convey to us, the viewers, it doesn't seem like that is what he's been accustomed to dealing with.
Well, he's stuck, and I don't know what will blow him out of that position. It will probably need divine intervention, and that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Well, I will say
But,
what he doesn't need. He doesn't need any more advice from Felina.
well, that's what I'm saying, divine intervention. Wisdom is a powerful thing. And
Hopefully,
you need divine intervention to get some wisdom and behind that some
oh,
understanding.
God is the source of wisdom. There's no question about that.
So that's all we have.
Mhm.
Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next bit.
Later.
Thank you.